Sketch the graph of y equals 2 sine of x plus pi over 3 minus 1. We'll start by finding some key features. We'll start with our amplitude. The amplitude of our function is the absolute value of the number in front of the function, so the absolute value of 2, which is 2. The midline is y equals the number that's added or subtracted on the outside. So we've got the sine function and then minus the 1. Okay, that tells us that our function has been shifted down 1. The period is 2 pi over the absolute value of b, where b is the number in front of the x, which in this case is 1. So our period is 2 pi. I also like to do the starting point because I know that when I draw sine, it's usually easy to do my starting point, which is on the midline. And that's actually just the phase shift of this. So our starting point or phase shift is the x value that makes this input equal to 0. Okay, that's the easiest way to get it. So we take x plus pi over 3 and set it equal to 0, and we get x equals negative pi over 3. So our phase shift is negative pi over 3. The x value equal to negative pi over 3 is where we'll start a cycle of the sine function starting on the midline. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to, I first need to pick my scale here on the x and the y axes. I'm going to go ahead and let each of these be a pi over 2. So negative pi over 2, negative pi, negative 3 pi over 2, and then over here positive pi over 2, positive pi, and positive 3 pi over 2. The midline is y equals negative 1. I'll go ahead and make each of these squares just 1 in the vertical direction. And so our midline, I'll go ahead and do that in a different color so we don't confuse it with the actual graph. So there's our midline. And then we can start by drawing our starting point. Our starting point is at our phase shift, negative pi over 3. Negative pi over 3 is going to be not quite at pi over 2. So, somewhere around here. And for the sine function, the function starts on the midline. So that's going to be our starting point. And then we can decide if we're going to start by going up or go down. Okay, that comes from our a value here for our sine function. This is a positive number, and so we're going to start by going up here. Our period is 2 pi, so I know I'm going to have to complete a full cycle in 2 pi. So that's going to be right around here is going to be the end of one cycle. For the sine function, I'm going to have another point halfway between these two. Okay, and so that's going to be right around here. And then I know that I'm going to reach my maximum is going to be up from my midline. I'm going to go, my amplitude is going to be going up 2, which puts me up at a positive 1. Let me go ahead and do a different color on that as well. So I'm going to get that high. And then I'm going to go from my midline down my amplitude, and that is how low I'm going to get. Now I know that I'm starting from my starting point here. I'm starting by going up. So halfway between these 2 points, I'm going to reach my maximum. Right up there. And then halfway between these 2 points, I'll reach my minimum down here. Okay, and then we can go ahead and sketch our graph. Oh, that was kind of sloppy right there. There's the sketch of one period, one cycle of this sine function. And of course it continues. Forever and ever.